Welcome, beautiful people and fellow whiners, to another episode of A Little Something to Whine About with me, Siobhan Camille.
And Ty Michelle.
Where we whine, W-I-N-E, about life, personal growth, relationships, and more, because sometimes you just need to whine a little. So grab a glass of your favorite red, white, or rosé and join us on the couch. And if you're driving, listening to this on one of the many podcast platforms, please don't drink and drive. We don't want to be responsible for that. Thank you.
Not at all. Not at all. That's not something I need on my conscience. And hello, everyone. I hope you all are having a wonderful, wonderful week. Siobhan, how have you been?
I'm good. I'm good. It's been a good couple weeks, It's been a good day. Once again, it's been a good day.
I have to ask sometimes because you have me a little worried, with your glass levels.
Oh no, I got my little carafe today. It's like 4 ounces. Yeah, okay. It's actually a 6 ounce carafe. So it measures it out. So I've been trying to be a little more aware of
your pour.
Of portion sizes.
Yes, that's something that we are going to get into on this podcast as well. We have a lot to cover. But today we will be talking about how close is too close, family edition. Dun, dun, dun.
Yes. So for those who have close families, how close is too close? We're going to explore that today. But before we get into that, as you all know, who have been with us for an episode or two, we whine over wine. And so, What are you whining today?
I am drinking a red blend. It's by Noble Vines. It's a part of the Noble Vines collection. It's called Marquis Red. Again, that's Marquis Red. And this wine I have never, ever tasted. So this will be a first for me. So that's what's in my glass with the correct pour. What are you drinking on today?
And in my little 6 ounce carafe today, I have a Vidal Blanc and I'm really going to try not to mess this up because I've only looked at the bottle a couple times. It was just one of those things I grabbed because I saw it. Bassignani, I want to say.
Sounds correct to me.
Yeah, I've actually had it before, but it's been a little while. So I've decided to bring it back. From what I remember, it's a sweet, but it's smooth. So I figured that I would bring out a Vidal Blanc for this edition. So let's get into it now that we know that what we will be sipping on for the next 45 minutes to an hour.
Yes. So what brought this topic up about how close is too close as far as family goes? I have biologically 8 siblings, so 7 siblings, 7 or 8. I'm not counting right now. And my family is blended. I was raised blended. No one was married to my father. Wait, I'm lying. I think my oldest brother's mom was married to my father, and I think they was married for like 6 weeks, and then they got it all. So I don't count that. But my oldest brother did pass away as well. So yes, when he was a baby. So yeah, that was hard for my dad. My dad doesn't like to talk about it. But anyway, I was race blended. I have dealt with or seen a lot in my growing up. But through everything, my family, well, at least my siblings and I, for the ones that grew up around me, we are extremely close. Some people say, we have heard it before, that we are too close. And I would have to, for the most part, disagree. But again, it's because I'm on the inside looking out. For the most part, though, not all, because there are sometimes I'll be like, look, I love y'all, but I need a break. And because we are so close, when I do feel that way, sometimes I'm like, I feel a little convicted because it's like, those are your siblings. Like, you really don't have too many other people to talk to, for real. So what are you doing? But yeah, I have been told that my siblings and I are like too close. Like we do too much together. We know too much about one another. And because of that, we are so involved in each other's lives where it creates, certain bickering or things like that. That's what I've been told. Do I believe that that is correct? To some extent, possibly. Yes. We do have sibling squabbles or whatever, but realistically, my family doesn't. It's just the level of your squabble, if you ask me personally. But that to me, that is a matter of opinion. Do I like it? For the most part, yes. There are times when I definitely feel like, yeah, I want y'all know and all that. But I do end up telling them anyway because it is a level of comfort there and a safe space. Now that is one thing that I will say with us being close it does provide us with that safety net of security that most people have. And I also think that that may be part of why a lot of people say what they say in reference to us being so close. They have not been blessed in that way to have that amount of support. I don't look or down or like feel any better than anyone, but I do recognize the blessing, and I think because of that, we can be looked at a little different sometimes. People think we're too close. What about you? Like, have you ever been told you're like too close to someone? I know you're an only child, but how close is too close? Like, are you too close to your mom? Are you too close to your dad? Like, tell me what you think.
Well, I don't know. I think, as you say, being an only child, a lot of my friends became my family, which is something we went deeper in on the last episode, friendships and adulthood. So to me, a lot of my friends became my family. My family was closer when I was younger, but that was like my cousins and everything, and primarily my mom's side of the family, just because that's who was around me. We lived in the same city. My mom's family lived in New York. My dad's family lived in Texas. So it was just the people that I was around were the people there. At this point, we're not. I mean, everybody's grown up. Everybody left our hometown and went their own ways. Like we were never going to stay in that place at all. So I don't think I've become too close to my family, but I don't think I've had anyone ever tell me that I was too close to any of my friends either. I think if I brought you into my circle, then that's what it is. If I consider you family, if we're close, whether blood related or not, then we're close. I had an ex that even after we broke up, I would literally call him every time my period started. I just did. And maybe that people would be like, well, that's weird, even if he was talking to somebody, but it was a matter of he understood it's irregular, it's all over the place. So it coming was like an event. Quite frankly, at that point in my life, like during my college years, it was an event because it was like she showed up this month. Can you believe it? And so, after 3 months, I ain't seen her. She said, but that I don't think people have ever told me that it's too close. I don't think I've ever had that, but I don't have a lot of people outside looking in either. Most of the people who are in are in. And because I'm not around other people to give me their opinion on, oh, you and Elle are too close, or oh, you and Cody are too close, or you and Zoe are too close, or whomever, I don't have other outside opinions to tell me what too close is. I'm not even sure. I personally don't believe in the term too close because I can't tell for somebody else. Tell them, oh, y'all are too close. You're essentially, I feel like that's saying your connection is too strong.
Right.
And I just don't feel like that's possible.
Right. Okay. That's about to ask you to explain that, because a lot of people will be like, nah. I would like, we got boundaries. And I feel like that's ultimately what people are talking about, like their personal boundaries. But the key word to that term is personal. So
exactly,
if your personal boundary isn't my personal boundary, it's okay. Like, it's nothing wrong with that. Don't shun my boundary because they are very small or very thin boundaries when it comes to certain things with my siblings or my mom. Like, realistically, outside of my best friend Michelle, my best friend is my mother. Like, there is absolutely nothing I can't tell my mother. And that means good, bad, ugly, indifference. Like, I can literally go to my mother and be like, time out. If you had children, you might want to excuse them. Ma, this bitch, and I was about to and F you, like, whole 9 yards. And after I finish, my mom will be like, language. First,
Right.
language. I'm glad that you got that out. Or she might be like, what? Now, my mother is not a real ratchet person, but I will say about these last 3 or 4 years, my mommy has changed. So my mom has learned some ratchet terms. Like, sometimes my mother surprises me, and I'm like, what? But that's just the type of person that she is. And anyone who knows or who has been around my family knows how my mother is. My mother, to me, if you need a close example of a saint, knowing that my mother is not perfect, like, let's not get it twisted. My mother's not perfect. But if you want to, my mom is probably the closest example to a saint that I could come up with, because I have literally watched this woman go through things, being in a blended family, raising children that she did not birth, raising us, and then everybody else who thought they were her children, and her just with open arms, an open heart, an open mind, but still having rules, like, and doing everything in love. Like, my mother has an in love spirit that I will never understand. And because of that, I feel like that's the reason why we are as close as we are. Like, I mean, and maybe this is normal. Maybe this is how, a lot of people feel. Well, most, because I do know some people that don't have great relationships with their mothers. But most people feel about their mom, your mom is someone you could really never replace. And as much as I call her my best friend, please don't get it twisted. This woman will tax my behind with my 35-year-old plus self. So I do know that there's a level that I go, you know what, Mom? You're right. You got it. I mean, how do you feel? Like, so how close are you and your mom? Put it that way.
My mom and I are really close. But that's a story of years. But we've always been close. My mom was always a person I could go to tell anything. I guess my mother was my first friend.
Mm-hmm.
Especially as an only child. And my mother was the type of person that, and I swear to God, I wanted to like box her face and cuss her out when she would do this in middle school. But she would wake me up. And you 12, 13, you shouldn't be up before noon. Okay. She would wake me up at 8 a.m. talking about, we going to run errands. Why? Is anything even open? Yeah, the stores are open. They just opened, didn't they? Like, the lights just turned on, and you want to be there when you are. Is Jesus gonna be there? Like, are you trying to be there when he comes out? What are you doing? Why are we here? Why do I have to go? That was always my thing. Why do I have to go?
Because you're not staying in the house.
No. Her thing was spend time with me. I think, and as it got older, and after my parents divorced, and then like for me, my dad died. So my mother and I've been close, like always. And it just got stronger over time. Now, the funny part is, as close as my mother and I are, I think I was closer to her mother, to my grandmother. And I think that anybody who was around me when my grandmother passed, I ain't talked to nobody.
Yeah.
Like, I turned everything off. I talked to no one for like a good month. My grandmother and I were close, but I don't know if I would say too close because there were things I kept from my grandmother just because she was a different generation. She was old school. I mean, anyway, so to answer the question, my mom and I close. My grandmother and I were close. I had some secrets from my grandmother, but that was just because of generational stuff. But it wasn't really a lot. And I think my grandmother and I were always close. I literally call her every Sunday after I graduated high school up until she died.
Okay.
So that was like 15, 16 years or something like that. I put it in the Instagram post when it happened because I had actually I did the math at the time. So we were really close. My mom and I are close. My dad is dead.
You do not have to say that. Like, my dad is dead.
I mean,
but it was so much feeling and everything else, and then it just got woo.
That's a while for another time.
Yeah. So when we think about how close is too close, like my children, I have 2 girls living in the house. They will I'll be like, okay, I'll go get dressed. We get ready, get out in the world. We're not staying in this house all day. My 2 girls will grab their clothes and go into completely separate rooms and get dressed. And when I saw that, to me, it was foreign. I was looking at it like, like y'all know y'all girls, right? Like y'all can go in the same room. Like y'all do know when we move, y'all will share a room. Y'all have the same parts. That's your sister. Like, what you doing? That's not a stranger. So it was foreign to me, but I had to learn. For one of them, she was just more comfortable changing by herself. And it wasn't anything against her sister. She was just more comfortable being that way. But just to look at, little things like that, where my boys, like, they'd be in the room together so long, I'd knock on the door, be like, hey, what y'all doing? Y'all ain't here sword fighting no name, because, they boys, boys do different things. And they'd be like, nah, mom, we getting dressed. I'd be like, but why all of y'all walking around in y'all drawers? Like, that goes from my 15-year-old down to 6-year-old. Like, and the 6-year-old is like the boldest one. Like, no filter.
But given the fact that their father don't ever wear a shirt or pants, really, I mean, he walk around in his boxer briefs all day. Like, I can't say that I'm surprised in the least bit when it comes to them.
I think I'm surprised. It's more so like, oh, Jesus, boys. And so, but just watching the comparison and the relationship between how my boys interact with each other and how my girls interact with each other. So it's, just that thing about closeness, like who's comfortable around whom. I noticed that my oldest son and my middle baby, they share secrets with each other. They confide in one another where they don't confide in their other siblings in the same manner. So, that's what I mean by how close is too close. Like, when you say that, does it then turn into favoritism? Is that something that can be created out of being too close? And I mean, even with that between parents, I'm a daddy's girl. And I always have been. I always will be. And yes, Monet, I am the original daddy's girl. And I say it like that because that's just the close thing that we have. That's a little sibling, I guess, rivalry or squabble that we have, because she's the baby. Then I'm the oldest that was around. We do have an older sister. How I can count on one hand how many times I have seen her. I am probably the only sister that would care to have a relationship with her. My other 2, quick to say, she don't count. And I'd be like, oh my God, they a mess. But what do you think maybe a boundary that you have seen cross between siblings who are too close?
I'm gonna be real. I don't really, barring anything illegal, all right, so like incest or anything physical like that, I don't really think anything up to that point, to me, is too close. I really feel like people, the whole y'all are too close, I think speaks more to the person saying it than the people they're saying it to.
Elaborate, please.
We live in such a society of judgment.
Well,
such a society where everybody's trying to tell everybody else what to do and how to live their lives when they don't even have their own together, or remotely together, or half together, or piece together. But it makes people feel better about themselves to look down on or judge somebody else. That's just where we are. So I can't, for example, what I may be comfortable or not comfortable sharing with somebody else, depending on the closeness of our relationship, I can't dictate that for someone else. As you said about the girls, one of them may have had bigger issues changing in front of the other. I can't tell you in the same way that you can't tell that person, oh, y'all aren't close enough because you're not willing to change in the same room. If she's not comfortable with changing in front of it, might just be anybody. She's just like, look, I'm not there.
Yeah, she's not that person. She's like,
and there are people like that will, even with their husbands or their wives, be like, I'm gonna go change in the other room. These are the same people that have clearly they've had intimate moments with, they've had time, hopefully they more than likely they've had moments with intimately that they're like, yo, I don't want to change in front of you. Maybe to them, they're like, that's a private thing. Or like, there are some people, for example, who won't go to the bathroom in front of their significant other. There are others who do not care. There are others like, in the only life or death emergency, will you be in here? It depends on the person. Now, for me,
now that I get, I completely get, because there are some things that, and this definitely is TMI. Yeah, I don't care who you are. When I'm in the restroom, bathroom, or that space, I don't need no help. I don't need no company. I don't care who you are. And I say that because, not to interrupt, sorry about that. I say that because that is one area that, you know how when you be like, oh my God, moms can't even go in the bathroom, and like, go, that was me. My mother in the bathroom alone. Oh no, Michelle, I'm like, doing handling my business. I'm like, okay, like, what do you mean? Like, what's the problem? So and it's crazy. So with my mom, I was like, okay, do what you gotta do. Like, you're fine. I don't care. I'm going to sit right here and I'm going to get this off my chest. But on the other hand, for me, I dare you. And that's why I say I'm a big contradiction. I tell people all the time, I feel like I am the world's biggest contradiction, because let a piece of a child or my spouse knock on the door. I don't care if I just had to pee. Slim, go away.
But that's what I'm saying. So, and that as well, you may be comfortable doing it, but you may not be comfortable on the other end.
I get told that.
It's no different than people used to say back in the day about like people talking about something, but you can dish it out, but you can't take it. There were a lot of bullies on the playground that had a lot to say about somebody, but let you tell them, that's why your clothes don't match. They break down in tears. They done told you your mom ain't this, your daddy ain't this, you ain't this. Mm-hmm. They done thrown so many at you. And now let you say one thing, they crying because they can't take it. There are two sides. There's always going to be two sides. There's the giver and the receiver. And sometimes you can be on one end and not the other. But again, to me, closeness or somebody judging closeness and the terms too close come from whoever the person saying it is, more so than the people receiving it.
I'll give you that.
Me telling my ex about my menstrual cycle may have been too much for somebody else. They may come to me like, oh, girl, you tell him that? That's too much. And y'all ain't even together anymore? That's way too much. He don't need to know all that. But he was like, at that time, he was one of my closest friends. Even after we broke up.
It was also a relationship. And I think sometimes that's what a lot of people don't understand relationship, period. Like,
but no, I'm saying after we broke up, I still did it. So my thing
at that point, it was still a relationship, like meaning you guys had
not relationship on the intimacy level. I mean, just relationship, like friendship. Like, hey, you know about this situation, so I'm comfortable with telling you, hey, this is what's going on. Woo! You know, no matter what may have changed about everything else around us, our relationship and me being able to tell you certain things hasn't changed. So that's what I mean. Like, and a lot of people don't understand, or they don't understand relationship unless it applies to them.
Oh, it's a whole lot of people with the, well, that's different when you tell them, but you do the same thing. Oh, but that's different. It's not. And what's different is your perception.
Perspective.
And your perspective. Exactly. That's it.
Now you're no longer on the outside.
The
you're
action is still the same. If I tell you.
Now this is a mirror. Ta-da.
If I tell you, oh, I crashed 2 cars because I was drinking. And you tell me, oh, that's wrong. You shouldn't, whatever. And then you do the same thing. And I'm like, well, you crashed 2 cars from drinking. Oh, well, that's different. Why? Because you were drinking vodka and I was drinking tequila? What's really the difference?
Alcohol level was still wrong. How about that? That's that. No matter what, the alcohol level was still illegal, and we were both
wrong. But that's an extreme example. And I don't drink and drive. I don't crash drunk and drive. Like, let's not do that. But I'm just saying that was just an example, people. But I'm just saying, like, that's my thing. Like, what are we really saying?
That's the pot calling the kettle black.
It's all of that. And so I personally do not believe 2 people can be too close, because I can't tell you what's too close for you.
Right.
You can't tell me what's too close for me. I personally don't have an issue changing in front of most people, because growing up as a dancer,
look, you had to figure it out. But you also and that's the other part. You as a dancer, you figure out how to change without exposing yourself, how to do it adequately, that means with accuracy and speed.
Yeah, we could go a whole nother dance conversation, but that's a wine for another time.
Look.
But that's why, again, to me, certain things, when people are like, that's too close. How? Because it also depends on, you don't know this other person's experiences or their cultural background, or even their personal background,
their life story,
their lifestyle, life story, any of that, to tell them what too close is. Again, like I say, to me, it's just connection. I can't tell you that your connection with somebody else is too much, or how you choose to express that, and how you all choose to interact with each other. I can't dictate. I'm not going to try to dictate. I'm not going to tell you what to do. Do you, boo? So
would you pick your sister's nose?
No, but I don't want anybody in mine. I don't want anybody in my nose. So that's a no.
Would you pop a blackhead on your sister's face?
Yeah, but I have a weird thing with that.
So do I. Like, my husband swears that I should have been a pimple popper. Oh my God, he swears that I should have. And it's like one of those things where you want to turn away, but you're like, no, hold up, but I gotta get it. Hold up, ew. Like, it has to.
Listen, I will get tweezers, and especially the big, it's like doing surgery, but not really.
Yes, but not really. My son hates me. Malachi has really, really bad acne, and that comes from a combination of both of his biological parents. And I apologize to him every day. Oh, I'm so sorry, baby. But we're here now. And I'm like, okay, so like I have been practicing doing like the facials and all this stuff for him. But it's funny because it's always when we're out in public and I notice them. It's always the natural light where I'm like, ooh, what's that? He's like, oh my God, Mom. Like, we have been in the middle of a Six Flags line and I'm like, it's just right. And he's like, Ma, and I'm like, I can't, because it's now I'm going to see it every time and I need to fix it. Okay, well, step to the side so don't nobody see us. And so like people are like, that's too close. That's not too close. That's caring.
And there's a thin
I
line.
care about the oils that are coming out of your face.
There's a thin line between caring and crazy.
Okay, well, I know I'm crazy.
But like, I'm just saying.
I don't deny that. I am crazy. My husband, I had to tell him, likes to describe it as jealous. And I had to tell him he was misusing that word. I said, I'm not jealous. I'm possessive. There's a huge difference. Now, if you're not careful, your possession can turn into a jealous thing, or, a jealous or envious type of thing, but I'm possessive. If you're my child, you're my child. Yeah, I might share you with your biological or, parents, but you're still mine. And, that's just how I feel. And God forbid, if you came out of my uterus, I don't care what you do. You mine, period. So if I'm too close, I'm just too close. Like, and I don't know, maybe it's me also trying to make sure like I'm cover all my bases with my son. I'm like, so have you thought about sex lately? And he's like, whoa, ma, boundaries. I'm like, you gotta tell somebody. He's like, I have a dad, a pop, and another dad. And sometimes I'd be like, I wonder which one he named first. But that's a me thing, and I know I shouldn't, but that's just a me thing. But he's like, I got it covered, and I'm like, no, but I'm your mother. Like I was the one that was here. I carried you, and he's like,
I'm gonna just put this aside in there. I'm just concerned of what men tell their sons when it comes to sex, because
so am I.
And that's a wine for another time. But I just want to put out there that I hear you, but what is he saying?
Oh, okay. For anyone who knows, like my family, anyone who knows my husband, if you look at his track record, that speaks for itself. And I'm just going to leave that where it is. If my dad has 8 children, it speaks for itself. And I'm going to leave that where it is. My child's father, he don't have no whole bunch of kids. He had Malachi and one with his wife. But if you know who my child's father is, it speaks for itself. It's some things.
But this is why it concerns me.
Right, and that's what I was getting ready to say. So with all of the great support that he has, I am so, for lack of better words, anxious and wanting him not to become a misogynist. Or, that male chauvinist thing. And I'm like, I want you to be a man. I want you to have all the testosterone. I want you to have I want you, to be the guy. However, I want you to be the better guy.
I want you to value and have respect for women.
Right. You hear what they say. You get it, but you also understand that a woman is not something for you to play with. Like you said in the first episode, we have feelings. Like, we're here. I want you to know how to communicate with them. I feel like as a mother, that's part of my job. My job is to teach you, not only to teach you what a woman is, but to teach you how to communicate with a woman, like the proper ways to do that. So yes, where you're comfortable talking with your male role models and counterparts, I still need you to be, I desire you to be comfortable with mentioning, it doesn't have to be in full detail, but mentioning things to me, because I have a different perspective from a woman's point of view. And if not me, you have plenty of aunts, another female who will give it to you straight up, who will, teach you, hey, this male female thing is multifaceted. It's not just about you. It's a lot of different sides to that. So I just want you to be aware in a positive way and not self-centeredly focused, if that makes sense. I hope I use the right vocabulary in that.
Here's what I'm gonna say, and just leave it right here. I wish more people would talk to people of the opposite sex. If you're heterosexual, if you're homosexual, just talk to y'all. It doesn't even matter. If you're a girl and you're gay and you're lesbian, just talk to other women, I guess, because that's who you're dealing with. If you're a guy and you're gay, just talk to other dudes, because that's who you're dealing with. If you are straight, I just wish more people would talk to people of the other gender. I have a greater understanding. I'm not going to say I'm not a guy, but I have a great understanding, I think, of guys and the breadth of guys' mentalities, not just the jocks, not just the car heads, not just the super sensitive ones, a great range. because as I've said countless times, most of my friends growing up were guys. And so the reason that to this day, dudes call my phone, that I can still just chill and kick it and have a conversation. Hey, what you doing, Vaughn? How you doing? What's going on? And it not be anything, whatever, is because I understand. I, again, may not agree with certain things, but I understand. And I think part of the problem that we have is men go to other men to ask them about women. Women go to other women to ask them about men. But you don't go
feel like
to...
part of that is taught.
It is taught.
Because you know your mom or moms or girl, you know, you hear her, you see her going to her girlfriends. You don't see her going to her dad. Like, see, I go quick to my dad. I'm like, Daddy, this man is getting on my nerves. And with my dad growing up in the generation that he is, and my dad is fully, what is it? Baby boomer. Like, I think he's in that area, that era. That baby boomer, whatever that generation, he's there. Like that old fashioned, quote unquote, man, that's my dad. Like his mentality, his thinking. And I love my husband to death. And you know how they say you marry your father? I feel like I inadvertently married my father not knowing it. But it happened. So we're here now. And I feel like, and that's why I'd be like, it's funny because Robo used to be like, well, you always go to your parents. And I'd be like, would you rather me go to a girlfriend? Or would you rather me express some of these things to a male counterpart, which then can create other issues? I would rather go to my dad, who is a guy, who is older, and who does understand the concept, although whatever he's been through, he understands the concept of a relationship, of marriage. Regardless of what he's done, he understands that concept. And because I'm his daughter, he's going to give me, valuable, advice, like things with substance, he's going to tell me from a man's point of view what, you may be thinking, or give me some type of insight. But wouldn't you rather me do that than for me to go out in these streets? So I definitely do agree with you with
but
that.
That's why I appreciate it. That's why I appreciate it. Like I told you before, when my male friends will come to me, Siobhan, you a girl, right? Yes.
I like to think so.
Because my girlfriend is right. Because my girlfriend is doing this, and I don't understand why but y'all knew to come to me,
to a female.
And
right.
Because again, it was like me with a group of 5 guys, like literally growing up, that was my squad. All of them would come to me because you a girl, right? You a chick, right? Let me ask you this. Because y'all can go sit and power, and maybe you need to go sit, have a boys moment where you just talk about how much you can't stand this chick. But when you want to come to the solution of how to fix it, or you want to come to the solution of how to get out of it without her keying your car, slashing your tires, doing all of this stuff, those are not the people to ask, because they are not women. Even though I don't often think like the average, if you will, because again, I'm mostly logical. I'm quick to be like, all right, well, bye. I can still, because I have the emotions of a woman, I just don't tap into them very often. I can go, tell me about her, give me 5 sentences that tells me what she's like. And even if I'm not her, especially at this age, I have enough female friends that I can be like, okay, so she's like Michelle. Okay, so she's like Elle. Okay, so she's like Keisha. How would Keisha, even if it's not, how would I respond? Because I think only 2 of them have ever dealt with chicks like me where I could be like, I'll tell you exactly what she about to do, because that's me. Everybody else, it was like, I even coming to me, I'm like, well, I don't understand that type of chick. Hold on, let me think about something real quick. Like, I have to run through the girls that I know or that I've watched more than anything, watched and witnessed, to figure out, well, I saw a same chick with her type of crazy key a dude's car because he did it this way. So just don't do it that way. I can't tell you the way to do it, but I'm gonna tell you, don't do this.
I'll give you a suggestion on how not to do it.
Right.
And how you go with it from there is there. Oh no, I definitely understand. And that's another benefit of having so many different siblings. As close as we are nothing alike. And you can attest to that. Monet is not like me. Erica is not like me. And I am not like them. And none of us are like Renee because we don't even know it. Understanding those differences too, and being able to see and relate one person to the next, because I mean, ultimately, there's nothing new under the sun. Period. No one has done anything or thought anything that someone else hasn't done or thought. Period. So you're right. It is best to talk to someone of success. I mean, absolutely. Like, look, I'm gonna be honest. We all just trying to figure it out.
So I guess to me, when it comes to how close is too close, I wish that boys were closer with the females in their lives than they are. And I wish daughters were closer with the uncles and fathers and whatever in their lives often than they are. I think so often males run together and females run together, but the truth in this thing called life, we all have to deal with each other. And again, unless you're homosexual, you will be dealing with someone of the opposite gender. So you would be better served to at least try to get an understanding of that group earlier. I don't think that either gender utilizes the other and the wisdom of the other
right
enough, because as you say, Malachi has, I don't even know how many aunties and a mother to go to, and even sisters to go to, cousins to go to, that him being like, well, I talk to my dad, my other dad, and pop. That's great. To get from a male's perspective, if you're talking about this is going on in my body, I'm feeling this towards women, But I really hope that when he gets to the point where he actually wants to court a woman and deal with a woman or a female, that he will go to the females in his life and not keep going to the dudes.
I will hope so,
and the same goes for, honestly, any female that they go to. Go to your mother to be like, look, my menstrual, go to your mother, my breasts are coming in. Go to your mother to be like, I'm starting to feel this for boys. Go to your mother. What are the mechanics of sex? But when you really like, dude asked me out, I hope that you can go to a brother, a father, an uncle, some guy and be like, this happened. This is how he asked me out. What does this mean? This is what he did on the date. Can you help me to? Because you're going to be guessing. And you know what? Your mama's going to be guessing. And the dude, your father, uncle, brother may still put a guess in it as well. But their guess is going to be coming from a perspective of relatability that no woman that is going to give you. And on the flip side, that no, because again, he could be like, well, Dad, she twirled her hair like over and over again. What does that mean? He's guessing. Because, and this is what I will say as well. And I'm saying this from a female perspective, and I'm just because we talk about Malachi. So again, if he's like, well, she kept, twirling her hair, she kept laughing and touching my arm. Like, what does that mean? And also, it could be you also have this adult male, because Rob's in his 30s, he'll probably in his late 30s. Right. That's going to tell you from that 30 perspective, oh, well, girls, when they do all that, they want it. Now, you and I, as females who have been 15, will be like, look, she just really likes you. She ain't necessarily trying to do all that.
Right. Or she could just be nervous.
She likes you. She nervous.
She don't know what else to say.
To do with
Please don't sit there and think that, oh, now we about to go and just like she ready to take her clothes off. Because I'm telling you, as a female, that's not going to happen.
And that's what I'm saying, because the guys in your life are going to be guessing from where they are now. And because they've never been a woman, they were never a 15-year-old girl. They weren't, honey. They were not. Where you are at 15 is where they were at 15. The same guessing you trying to figure out is the same guessing they were figuring out. Your mama was a 15-year-old girl at some point. Your aunties were all 15-year-old girls at some point. You may have a cousin that's 15-year-old girl right
now. Talk to her.
Who can give you definite current insight, because we are still a couple generations, couple decades removed. We can reminisce, But as you said, clothing wise and everything else, and fashion and style and lifestyle of all of these girls right now, I can't help you, bro. But we were that. So I wish that as we talk about how close is too close, I wish that closeness between the genders increased. I wish that we got rid of the stereotype and the old motto that's so played that, oh, a man and a woman can't just be friends. I wish that was dead. I wish a man and a woman can't just lay in a bed together and do nothing. I wish that were dead. I wish that we would stop acting like men and women, especially men, but men and women are both just these sex-driven, sex-crazed, can't do anything else unless one of them
That's
is gay.
all that there is under the sun between a man and a woman is sex.
I wish that, because that mentality is the root of all of these problems. I wish that died, because I think then closeness between genders would lead you to conversations between genders, would lead you to understanding between genders, which would lead to the end of a lot of generational curses, the end of a lot of jacked up families. And I'm not talking, close blended. And even then, people could probably do close blended and baby mothers and baby fathers better with that actual communication and understanding, because one, it would eliminate a whole lot of baby mama, baby daddy foolishness. It would eliminate a whole lot of baby mamas, baby daddies in the first place. And I didn't come from a blended family, so my take on all of that is going to be extremely traditional. It's the reason I don't have kids now. But at least then you wouldn't have the woman who feels cheated and slighted because her child's father is with another woman. You wouldn't have the man that's like, oh, well, if he gonna be dating my baby mama, then he might as well play daddy to my kids. You wouldn't have that.
Right. It would be extremely less of and no room, or little to no room for excuses. You would definitely eliminate a lot. Toast. Cheers to that. And I'm going to not sip my tea. I'm going to sip my wine. This wine, actually, let's talk about this wine real quick. What are your final thoughts on your wine? Let's start with you.
So now that the glasses are empty, I will say that for me, it's clean. It's a nice, clean, sweet wine. It's not one of my favorites. I think I appreciated it more when I first had it, and now having had it over some time, it's also because it's gotten warm. It's much better chilled. I think me personally, I just tend to like wines chilled more than warm anyway. So I would definitely recommend a Vidal if it's cool, a chilled Vidal Blanc. But yeah. So I guess at this point, I'll give this a 3 out of 5.
Overall, this is not a favorite.
Oh yeah, this was your first time with
this is my first time. This is a new one for me. I'm a newbie at this one. Not my favorite taste wise. The blend itself, it's a little rough. It's not smooth. It is dry, but I don't mind dry. I actually like dry wines. It's a red wine, duh.
But there are sweet red wines.
Yeah, but it's a marquee. But most marquee aren't sweet. So yeah, it's nice. I feel like maybe if I was eating with this, like maybe like a steak or some asparagus, like something else, I feel like this is a good pair wine. Like you have to pair it with something. Drinking it alone, it's a little heavy, if that makes sense. It's a little heavy. I feel like if this was paired with a nice steak or lamb, you
need like a heavy food,
right, to go with it. I feel like that would probably make this taste a whole lot better. It's not nasty. Let's not do that, because I would have never finished the glass. But ideally, this is definitely something that you would want to sip on with a meal, not a dessert. This is not a dessert wine. This is definitely a meal. But my overall rating of this, I give it a solid 3. And that's because I'm not eating with it. I definitely give it a solid 3.
Yeah, I think mine would go good with like a fish or a seafood. I think because it is so crisp and clean that it doesn't really, it has a taste of its own. And I was trying to think of what it is, but I'm not sure. But definitely like a fish or a seafood. I think a steak or any type of red meat is going to be too heavy. Even chicken would be too heavy. I think you would need like a nice, like a buttery,
a lobster,
like a tilapia or something, a lobster even, or something like that. A lighter fish. Because on its own, especially if you're going to do it warm. I think if you're going to do this chilled, you can do it with, a nice cheese and as a snack type thing.
Right.
But if this is warm and you're doing this for like dinner, then
a seafood dish would be best. Okay, that's great. That's great. Well, I think that brings us to the conclusion of this wonderful episode, another wonderful episode of A Little Something to Write About with your host, Taya Michelle.
And Siobhan Camille.
And we hope that you enjoyed yourself. Please subscribe to the podcast and visit our website, alittlesomethingtowhineabout.com. Let us know about this topic. Let us know how close is too close to you. Is there someone that you would like to be closer with? Please let us know. And don't forget to join us next week. We will be talking about traveling now versus then, pre-COVID, post-COVID. And don't forget,
there's nothing wrong with a little wine.
Bye.